If you are thinking about moving to Pensacola Beach, this is a much-watched video. We're not talking about Pensacola overall. We're talking specifically Pensacola Beach, things that you're not going to find on Google, on ChatGPT, things that make this island incredibly unique, some in good ways and some in not so great ways. So I'm super excited to give you the nitty-gritty. So buckle in your seatbelts or whatever you buckle in. I guess you're sitting at a desk or watching on your phone, because this is going to be a video really going into detail about all the things you need to know about living right on Pensacola Beach. Let's talk about the layout of Pensacola Beach. So the east and the west ends are very, very quiet, where it's mostly single-family homes, some low-density buildings. But right in the center is where you really get all the action. So you have a bunch of restaurants and bars right here. Native Cafe is a good little beach breakfast spot. You have some of those just like old salty beach bars. Also where you're seeing a lot more of our high-rise condos in the center of the area. We also have Grand Marlin, which is a great place to eat, Casino Beach Bar, and that sort of thing. So this is really the hub. So if you're wanting something more quiet, it's very, very easy to find. You just have to go east or west. And both sides are great. So if you're going more to the east side, you're closer to Navarre, and about a 15-minute drive from Navarre Beach. On the west side, you're right next to Fort Pickens, where you can see all that beauty and everything. So the center is where you have like Casino Beach. That's what they call our beach here, where there's the big beach ball. And yeah, you have all your, beachy shops. You have tons and tons of restaurants. Oh, we also have, flounders and crabs, where you get really great fresh seafood. So this is the heart of Pensacola Beach. But the other areas are where you're getting that way more chill vibe. And all you have to do is really go a mile or two each direction and you're out of it. So if you are thinking about Pensacola Beach, you're probably thinking, oh, there's tourists everywhere, there's parties, that sort of thing. But that's actually not the case. There are tons and tons of neighborhoods, like the one I'm walking in right now, where short-term rentals are not allowed. We're talking like 6 months or longer, and we see this all the time. But it's important to get connected with a professional like me and my team, because sometimes you might not know that. That actually happened once on the beach, where there was a lawsuit where someone bought it so it could be a short-term rental, and then later found out it was not a neighborhood that allowed it. But there are plenty of neighborhoods. I'm walking in Calais, Hermosa right now, where it's 6 months or longer. We also have Seashore Village. We have tons and tons of areas, Little Sabine. I can keep going, where short-term rentals are not allowed. But this is something you need to think about, because if something happens, if there's a life change and you go, okay, I now need to rent this out, I'm not going to be able to stay here. Well, short-term renting is probably the easier thing, and to at least be able to cover your mortgage. Waiting for someone that makes the type of money to be able to afford one of these homes is going to take a little longer, and you're going to need them to be willing to stay in it for at least 6 months. But these neighborhoods are so great for families, for people that just definitely want to make sure that they always know who their neighbors are, where they're not having a different family in every week. A slight chance of a wedding going on next door to you. You're going to just see it's a lot calmer here. And we see this on both the east side of the beach and the west side of the beach, in several different areas where you can get homes that are in these rent-restricted neighborhoods. Okay, this is my favorite thing about the island, and I don't think any amount of Google or researching will let you know just how special it is. Pensacola Beach Elementary School is a gem. It is a tiny school where kids come home with more sand than you know what to do with, and it is just a magical school. It is one class per grade, so it's small. It's like a family. You know all the teachers, you know all the families there. It goes from kindergarten until 5th grade. They even have a bus where they can pick up your kid, bring them back home, and an aftercare. So if you need to work late, or just, if you just need some time, and the kids literally play in the sand. It is so neat. They're outside, they're having a great time. I think it's the childhoods that a lot of us, we want for our kids. And that's what makes it so special. And then also it has some of the highest ratings in the district. It's an A-level school, which is phenomenal. And a lot of people move to Pensacola Beach just so their kids can go to this school. And then the great thing is when they get to middle school and high school, then they will be zoned for Gulf Breeze Middle and High School. Both of those also have incredible ratings, public schools, really just a perfect scenario. If you're sending your kids in town and you're wanting to do the private school route, it's more expensive. Sometimes up to $20,000 a year between aftercare, the summer programs, that sort of thing. So here you have an A-rated school where your kids get to see the Blue Angels. They come home sandy. It is a family-like feel, and you can send your kids there for free. So definitely a gem that I think is just amazing. It's just an amazing reason why so many people move to Pensacola Beach. Make sure to stick around, because one of the things I'm going to be telling you later on in the video is something a lender has never even heard of before. And a lot of times when I tell people about this fact on Pensacola Beach, it absolutely shocks them. Sometimes it's even a deal breaker, so you're not going to want to miss that. Okay, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, insurance. But insurance is an issue all throughout Florida. But of course, the more coastal areas you are, the higher it's going to be. So a lot of areas right on Pensacola Beach, you're gonna have flood insurance, and you're also gonna have homeowners insurance. And we'll go over a few places. I'm gonna give you real life examples of what they cost. But you do need to make sure that your home has different types of ways to prepare for storms which will bring your insurance down. And I'm gonna show you some of those real quick. So over here, these are the metal hurricane shutters. So here, this is going to be one way that you're going to get a discount on your insurance. We also have hurricane impact windows where they're just already ready to go, but those cost way more money. And what you're looking at right here, that is a peg for a fabric shield. They roll up in cardboard containers, then you put them on here, and it essentially is going to stop things from going through your window. And if you can protect your windows, the theory is you can protect your property. Let's talk real life insurance examples. So this townhome I helped someone buy recently, so I know these numbers on the back of my hand. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about 2 blocks from the Gulf of Mexico. And so this one has something interesting. The flood insurance was grandfathered in and transferable, so under $1,000 a year. But when we first started getting quotes back for this, insurance was saying like $25,000 a year. Crazy town. So that's why they worked with someone like me. I was able to get it down to $7,000 a year by calling my different insurance pros that I work with and being like, this is crazy town, $25,000 a year, who can afford that? So he had told us, hey, we need you to make sure that there are shutters on every single window, and that's going to drop it significantly. So that's what we did. So here's a real life example of insurance at just one place on the beach, and this is an older building. So here's another insurance tidbit. So if it is a short-term rental, it's going to be significantly more than a primary home, sometimes double the price. So if you're renting it out to other people, you might see your insurance go from $7,000 to $14,000, which is significant. So it's something to think about for sure. But just these houses that I'm walking by right now that are behind me, they're about a block from the Gulf, and just from experience, probably the insurance here, because it's a newer home, is probably about $4,000 to $5,000 a month, because it's also lifted. It's a newer home, so I'm thinking that insurance here would probably be around $10,000 or $12,000 for the homeowners, and then around $4,000 to $5,000 for the flood. Okay, so as you're coming on to Pensacola Beach, there is the Bob Sykes Toll Bridge, and it's $1 each time you cross it. Back in the day, they had people there taking your dollars. Now it's a toll by plate system, or you can have something called SunPass that charges you every time. But recently I had someone move to Pensacola Beach, and she was like, man, every time I leave the island, I'm gonna have to pay $1. When you leave, you don't pay, it's when you come back on. And I was like, no. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. If you are a resident on the island, you get a beach pass where you can come, I think it's $25 a year, and it's unlimited. Because otherwise you could be spending $3, $4 a day each. And I mean, that really adds up. So we have the beach pass for residents. And also just to talk about when storms do come, sometimes there are evacuation orders and they shut the bridges down. However, if you are a resident here, you do have a pass on your car, so you can get back to the island, maybe grab some clothes, get what you need, so you can always get back here. But yeah, if you're moving out here, don't worry, you don't have to pay $1 every time. You get a perk. You get to go back and forth as much as you want if you are a resident right here on the island. Okay, remember how I was telling you that there is one thing that you probably won't hear about anywhere except from me right now? So the land here on the beach, it is a leasehold system. What the heck does that even mean? So the land, you lease it from the government. However, it is a 100-year lease and it auto-renews. We see this all the time. Precedent has already been set. It's almost looked at as like an additional tax on your home. So for me, I live on Pensacola Beach. My land lease is $600 a year, give or take. So it's just another small fee of living in paradise. But here's how I heard it all happened, and definitely fact check this. I should probably do that. But what I was told was back in the day when everyone had farmland, that was the sexy spot, having farmland. Like, where can we grow a lot? Where can we have our cattle? There was this little sliver of island called Santa Rosa Island that nobody wanted. They're like, why do we want an area that floods and we can't grow things and we can't put all of our farm animals out there? So they went to Escambia County and Santa Rosa County being like, will you guys just take care of it? So Escambia County, they're the ones that have the land lease. The Santa Rosa Island Authority manages all of it. But Escambia County said, hey, we'll take Pensacola Beach portion. Santa Rosa Beach said, we'll take Navarre Beach portion. So this is an area where you have a land lease. And it's super important because if you're working with an out-of-town lender, this is going to throw a curveball at them. They're going to be like, oh crap. And we've had that happen where you're in the final hour and they're finding out about a land lease and the underwriters don't know what to do with it. So that's really, really important if you're thinking about moving here to talk with us because then we can make sure you're working with a lender who knows how to navigate it. It's honestly not a big deal at all. The way the government looks at it is almost like an additional tax. They treat it like it's your land, but it's just a little bit different, the structure when you're looking at title. So we always explain that to people because when they first hear it, they go, hey, there's a land lease? They can just take my house? They can just kick me out of there? No, because precedent's already been set. There's tons and tons of legal paperwork that protects you there, but it's just a different setup. Okay, if you're moving here, you got some tough decisions to make, right? First world problems, right? Do you want to be in a condo? Do you want to be in a townhome? Do you want to be in a single family home? You're gonna have to figure that out. What fits your lifestyle? I recently had some clients that were really thinking that they wanted maybe a condo, but then they were like, yeah, we need 4 bedrooms. Inventory is going to limit you. There aren't any 4-bedroom condos right on Pensacola Beach. You get a single family home, or you could possibly get a townhome right on the Gulf. So that was really just figuring out what they needed. And we looked at all the things and they're like, we really want to be on the Gulf. We want to hear that every morning. So a townhome was for them. The condo HOA fees might get really pricey and overwhelming. What the HOA fees do cover a lot though. They're covering pretty much everything except electric. So it's covering your exterior insurance, your sewer, your water, your internet, your cable, and some of them can be as high as $25,000 a year. If you are a local, you will be a member of the Elks Lodge. We just joined. It's right here up on the left. It's about $150 a year, and the drinks are mighty cheap. They have bingo on Mondays. Bring your kids. It's a fun time. So that is an extremely local spot. So every Sunday on Pensacola Beach, get ready because you're going to hear the Blue Angels in the air. You're going to hear the roar of freedom. So as they're coming home from their shows during their season, they do a beach buzz. They do this between usually around like 5 and 7 p.m. And back in the day when they were doing the beach buzz, you just had to sit and wait. But now there's Facebook pages that make it really easy to see minute-by-minute updates of when they're coming here. And so you can be out there, or if you're at home, you can just pop right on over to hear them. But it's almost like a reunion. A lot of people just go out there, they wrap up their weekend on the beach as they see the Blue Angels come home. So you see the Blue Angels come in formation and then Fat Albert as well. It is a fun part of Pensacola Beach. And if you're lucky enough to go to the pier, sometimes it feels like they are just an inch above your head. And that is the best spot to see it. But you'll see it all along Pensacola Beach nearly every Sunday when they're in season. All right, that wraps it up. What did you think? Did you learn something new today about Pensacola Beach? I told you there would be some surprises. And I promise you, we want you to move here too, and we'll be friends and we'll hang out. We love this area, and that's why you really need to trust a local pro, a local real estate agent like myself and my team to get you through this. It is such an awesome place to live, but it can be a nightmare. If you're working with someone that doesn't understand the land leases, if you're wanting something that's a short-term rental and they're showing you things in an area that you can't even do that, or someone that doesn't understand the insurance and the hurricane risks here. So that's why you need to call us. We'd love to help you move here and fall in love with it just like we have. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It has been fun, and we'll see you next time.